Hello everybody and welcome back to the Criterion Corner, and today I'm going to be reviewing the latest release from the Criterion collection. It is the Ascent. Is it worth your money? Should you pick it up? Let's get into it. Hello everyone, I'm the filmmaker and I love movies, and I'm glad you could join me here today down at the Criterion Corner to discuss the latest release from their collection. It is the Ascent. And just before we get into reviewing it, is this film any good, and then of course the specific features that you get with a Criterion release, I just wanted a little bit of a side note and acknowledge that yes, today two films were released from Criterion collection in the UK. The Ascent and Charade. And I'm not doing an episode for Charade because each month the Criterion collection in the UK we get 3 new releases. And this is either a new film on Region B, which is an old spy number that's already available in the US, and it's usually a new release and a new spy number, which the Ascent is today, even though the Ascent was released I think it was in January in the US. So on one date, 2 films get released, and then the following week 1 film gets released, and I can only pick 1 film out of those 2 on that certain week because these episodes take a long time to make, because I've got to watch the film, make notes on it, watch most of the supplements, read the essay, and also I've got to pay full price for this new release as well. I usually try and spend my money on Criterions when there's a nice deal on, but I'm getting these episodes out to you on the day of the release, or at least as close to the day's release as possible. Just thought I'd let you know, just in case you were expecting an episode for Charade or any other films coming out. Okay, let's get into the Ascent. What did I think of this film? Well, it's fantastic. I mean, it's helmed as kind of a masterpiece, and at this moment in time, I don't think it is. It's a Russian film. It's a new spy number as well. It is spy number 1063. Here's a look at the lovely cover artwork for it as well. And it is directed by Larisa Sapicto, and she's kind of a really famous film director. You know, she's Russian. This is a Russian film. And it's basically about these 2 soldiers. It's set in World War II. And they've got to go and grab some supplies. And it is set against a beautiful backdrop of this pure, massive snow. There's loads of snow in the film. It's shot in black and white, and you get this excellent contrast between the dark, bleak, cold war and this kind of innocence, this beautiful snow that's set upon the ground. Which of course brings me on to my first point, which is the film looks lovely. There's some great images in here. The direction by Sapicto, she's phenomenal here. Like I said, it is helmed as her best film. She hasn't made many films because actually after she made this film, she was beginning development on her next film, but she tragically died in a car accident while she was location scouting. She got a bit of that film shot, but not all of it, and her husband, Elman Kilvov, I think, he actually finished her film off, and if that name might ring a bell to you, that is because he is the director of Come and See as well. So he directed Come and See, which is his most famous film. It is really renowned for its shocking subject matter. I haven't seen the film yet, really want to check it out, but yeah, so that's kind of the connection between these 2 films. You've kind of got husband and wife. It's kind of like they're 2 masterpieces in the collection, even though I don't think The Ascent is a masterpiece yet. And I haven't even seen Come and See. But back to the actual review, because I'll talk about the personal life of the director and all that when we talk about the supplements and the essay, because trust me, the supplements, there's a lot to dig our teeth into. You can feel how cold it is. I mean, the conditions that it was made in, people were almost getting frostbite. It was that cold. And you can feel it in the film, well, at least I did anyway. The film clocks in 10 minutes shy of 2 hours, and you've got to be very patient with it because there's very little, it's not a gun blazing action, war film. There's very, very little action fighting, and when it does happen, it's minimal. Like I said, the film very much focuses on the aftermath of those events, and it really gets rooted into its deep themes of the spirituality of the film, religious connotations, when these 2 guys basically get captured by the Germans, by these Nazis, and they know they're going to die. and what do they do with that? But another thing that I want to focus on as well is just the nature about it, how the snow, that the nature, even though this wasn't said in any of the interviews or the essays, obviously maybe this wasn't what the director was going for, but what I got out of it was, nature is really an enemy in this film as well. One of the soldiers, almost, it feels like I thought he was going to die at some point because he was so cold. The actor did a fantastic job at selling that, and he probably was actually that cold. Like I said, some of the crew, some of the extras were very near to frostbite. So the nature is almost another enemy going at it. It's against the war. It's several foot deep in snow they're trudging through. I really like that aspect of the film, the weather, the visual. It's done very well. When these guys do get captured, there is kind of a long scene where they get interrogated, and I did think that went on for a bit too long. The pacing does kind of dip in that moment when, that's probably the second half of the film when that happens, and so it does become slightly less engaging for me to watch. So that's probably one of the biggest issues I had with the film. Right, so let's move on to the actual essay here. So let's take it out here, and I'll show you what we're looking at. So take it out, and it is one of these smaller Criterion essays you get with them. So it's just like this. Here we are, and the essay goes into details about the director. I'm saying the director because I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. It's like Shepito, something like that. This details like who her influences, her mentor, how she got into film, where she studied. In fact, she studied at the same place that Andrei Tarkovsky studied at as well, which is quite interesting, at the same time. So if you're interested in that, and also gets into details about the film, about the themes, it makes for a very good read. Now let's move on to the supplements, and like I said earlier, there is a lot for us to sink our teeth into. The supplements, most Criterion Blu-rays, Criterion are very well known for extensive supplements in the films, and this one is no exception. The special features in this is just incredible. First, we get a 20-minute intro to the film by the director's son, which is really interesting. We learn so much. We learn so much about what the film was going for. Like I said, the spirituality of it, the religious connotations, the conditions in which the film was made, like I said, with the frostbite, and also the Russian film industry side of things, the Soviet Union, how, because it had a bit of religious subtext in there, it could be censored, and how they got it off the ground, and it went to the Berlin Film Festival, won the Golden Bear, stuff like that. And it's a really great interview because then it also details her private life, her personal life with her husband, who I mentioned earlier, who directed Come and See. And then later on when it talks about her very tragic death in a car accident. Yeah, that's really good. If that interests you, I would recommend that, because there's so much to go over here. There's like a commentary over selected scenes, which I didn't go into because it was quite long. There's actually a short film that the director made, one of her early films. I didn't watch that because it's about 40 minutes and I didn't have enough time. There's also another kind of short film documentary made by her husband when she died. It's a beautiful tribute to her, and it's really lovely. It's only 20 minutes. I'd really recommend that as well. And then there's loads of documentaries and Russian programs about this director, and a lot of them are quite long. Again, that's why I didn't have enough time to watch all of them. But yeah, if you're interested in this director, in Soviet Union cinema, and what they had to go through in the 70s and the 60s, I would definitely recommend it. There's so much to go over here in the supplements. You learn so much. I've learned so much. I've discovered new directors now, new Russian directors. It's always every time I watch some supplements from a Criterion Blu-ray, I learned something new about the film industry, about cinema. It's really enriching. So if I were to give this film a rating out of 5, it would be like a 4.3, maybe even a 4.4. Probably the lowest would be a 4.2, so that's the range that we're looking at here. So yeah, decide for yourselves. Does this seem like a type of film you will enjoy, you will watch, and you will pick up? Thank you all so much for watching this video, and of course I will see you again in the next video. Bye.